I've opened up my own analytics account again, and I'm going to look at 2016 when I got hit by some spam bots. If I scroll down, I can see the language section has some language spam in it. Just from this one page, I can see that it's approximately 9% of my traffic. That's definitely messing up data for landing pages, exit pages, time on site, etc. So let's create a filter that will exclude fake languages. Now before we do any of this, it's worth noting that you have to have admin privileges to work with filters. If you don't have them yet, you can still follow along. Now we could copy and paste each of these spammy languages into a filter. That would eliminate these 3 languages. But as soon as the spammer has a different message, those new messages would get through. We want to create a filter that can be a bit more flexible. And for that, we're going to use regular expressions. If you've never used regular expressions before, think of them as advanced pattern matching. They can be a little confusing to write, but they're very powerful, and I'll explain it each step of the way as I write them. Now I'm going to use this online tool to help me visualize the regular expressions. At the top, I have valid languages. And at the bottom, I have some of the spammy messages. We have 2 options here. We can write an inclusive filter that matches all of these languages, or we can write an exclusive filter that matches all of the ones on the bottom. Regular expressions are hard to write, and I find it easier to write regular expressions that look for something out of place rather than look for every single valid thing. So let's do it that way. When I look at the spam below, I notice all of them include spaces. Valid languages only include letters, dashes, and occasionally numbers. So I'm going to write a filter that will exclude languages that have spaces, and we can do that by typing in /space period. Now in regular expressions, that /s means any space character. It could be a space, a tab, a return, etc. And the plus symbol means 1 or more. So in this tool, notice that it's highlighting the spaces in the spammy languages. That means it's matching them. We can now copy this regular expression into our Google Analytics account. So it's this /s. I'm going to go back to Google Analytics. Let's go to Admin and then Filters. And I'm going to quickly switch to a new account that doesn't yet have this filter. I'll go to Admin, Filters, and then Add Filter. Create a new filter. I'll call this Exclude Spam Languages. And then click down to Custom. Select the field, Language, and then the filter pattern, which is that /s+. Then click Verify Filter, because you want to make sure that this isn't excluding any legitimate data. Now you might see 2 errors at this point. The first one, which is the one we're seeing right now, is that this filter would not have changed your data. Now this means that you may not have hit by language spam yet, or it means that you've written your pattern incorrectly. Or it could mean that Google took a random sample of your data and the language spam wasn't included in that sample. Now, if you get this error, it's fine. It's better to have a filter that's too weak rather than exclude actual data. You could also be ahead of the curve and prevent language spam from ever hitting your site in the first place. The second error you might see is language not set. I actually got this on my site when I first set it up. There were 4 visits that had the language, parentheses, not, space, set, end parentheses, and there was a space in there. But I decided that 4 visits was less than 0.2% of my data, so I thought it was fine to exclude that. So this is good to go. I'll just click Save. And now we're excluding all spam languages.